There's always a story to the banners, and when someone asks about a certain vet, I know the story, and that makes me feel a closeness or a connectiveness to their families. The inspiration behind the project came from visiting with colleagues about how we can create a more vibrant downtown and Hazen in general. And one of my colleagues has relatives in Rapid City, South Dakota, and they do veteran banners, and her uncle was displayed, and that's where the idea came from.
Well, first, I'm the mayor of Hazen, and being the mayor, you know, a lot of these projects come about in discussions that I'm involved in. And when it came to our attention that, I believe it was Tammy Ron who saw this project done in South Dakota somewhere, maybe Rapid City. And she brought this up to us and said, hey, this is really cool, very respectful and honoring people that, you know, served our country. Maybe we should try to do this in Hazen. And it blossomed from there.
The goal, first of all, I anticipated 30 banners, and at the end of the first year we ended up with 87. The goal was basically to bring awareness and promote our veterans, both past and present. I think I'm the jack of all trades. I'm the coordinator for it. I collect the checks, the cash for them to be purchased and sponsored. I send the pictures to the Hazen Star, in which they have a graphic designer and present and create the banners. So I am the go-to person for anyone who wants to re-sponsor or purchase a new banner. As you can see here, we have a spreadsheet. So when you purchase in 2019, they renew every 2 years. So this is the year that those banners are re-sponsored at $150. We ask for a sponsor to fill out the form and also turn in a picture, high quality resolution picture. Once this form is filled out, we will either send it via email to the Hazen Star or drop it off. So between the Hazen Star and the Convention Visitors Bureau, we are in charge of getting the information, so that way it is displayed correctly. So once the proof is ready, I will send it back to the families.
I'm a member of the CVB. I'm actually now the president. So she brought this forward, and obviously I have a little bit of military history in our family with my father and my brother. So when the opportunity came, it's just a great way to, again, honor those that are willing to do, you know, give up the most for our freedoms, for our liberties, for the way of life that we live. You know, I know Mercer County as a whole, we don't have a war memorial in our county. So for us to honor those people that were either born here, lived here for a substantial time, grew up here, have moved here later in life, I mean, it's great to know who those people are in your community, and again, just be able to show them that sign of respect and that gratitude that they deserve.
Tonight I'm talking about my dad, Jerry Obenauer Sr., and he was in the Navy and in the National Guard.
I'm here to talk about my brother, Jason Fry. He served in the United States Marine Corps.
I served in North Dakota Army National Guard. I was stationed in Beulah and in Mandan.
The banners that we purchased were one for his dad, Theodore Wolf. He was in the Army. Then we also did a banner for my dad, Orland Kirkenberg, and he was in the Army. And I also purchased banners for my daughter, Melissa, and her husband, Gilbert, and their son, Jordan. And then my other daughter, Missy and Gilbert were in the Air Force, and now Amanda and Larry were in the Air Force. And Amanda's my daughter, and Larry's the son-in-law. So we have a few.
So my family history, involvement in the military is not huge. My grandfather on my mom's side, he was in the military. He was in World War II, and he actually was killed in World War II, but he was not in action. He was electrocuted when he's driving a bulldozer. So I'm not even sure how long he was in the military. My mom was 3 years old when that happened. But the most recent involvement in the military in my family is my dad. He was in the Navy, and he started in, I want to say, 1968 in the Navy, and I was born in Jacksonville, Florida, where he was stationed at Jacksonville Beach, Florida.
My father never was in the military, but I had an uncle that was in World War II in the Army, and an uncle in the Air Force during World War II.
My brother's kind of that all-American kid that you look up to. In high school, he was captain of the wrestling team, captain of the football team. Chose the military path. Was involved, or I guess in love with the military from a young age. Was always Army men around the house, books about military, so it was kind of an easy choice for him, I think, which way he wanted to go as he got older. He was actually appointed to both West Point and the Naval Academy. Chose to go to the Naval Academy because that was, I think, his first love was that direction, and became a Marine. And as far as how it has shaped his life, I mean, I think his military service to this day shapes everything he's done. I mean, the training that they put you through, the lifestyle that you live, it's just, I don't think you ever get that out of your system once you're there. So to this day, I think it's a very important part of everything he does. After graduating, he chose to go to the Marine Corps. Was stationed in numerous places. He actually ended up in the infantry, and then into artillery. So he was in Camp Lejeune for a while for initial training, then to Fort Sill, ended up out at Camp Pendleton. During his time there, the 2004 Iraqi conflict started, and he was deployed to Kuwait initially, and then they were involved in the first day of the invasion into Iraq in 2004. That was in March. During that first attack, I guess that first day, he was wounded. A rocket-propelled grenade, went through the passenger side door of his Humvee where he was seated, and he lost his right arm from mid-forearm through his hand. So he was one of the first major casualties, I guess, of the Iraq conflict in 2004. I don't even know where to start, to be honest. I mean, he learned so much. That sacrifice, that devotion, being willing to make the ultimate sacrifice for what you believe in. Again, that goes back into his whole family. In his life right now, he works for Boeing in their ethics department. So everything that he's done through the military has formed who he became as an adult. And I think the values and the beliefs that he learned, he carries with him every day.
Well, I'm the type of a person that likes to help everybody. I do a lot of volunteering, and when I got in the military, I learned to really respect my superiors. I learned from being a North Dakota boy, it was kind of hard to go out of state like I did, but I got to meet a lot of individuals. It didn't make any difference what color our skin was. We got along, we worked together real well, and I enjoyed it. Well, what really got me motivated was when I got my letter from Uncle Sam to get my physical in Fargo, North Dakota. And then after I had my physical, I had a history teacher that I had in high school. He was a second lieutenant in the National Guard, and he's the one that talked and asked me to join the National Guard. So I joined the National Guard, and I did my training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. I was down there for 6 months, and after that I returned back to my unit in Beulah. Well, the biggest thing I learned when I first got down to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, my drill sergeant, point blank, "I'm not your mama." And I found out at that time, and you grow up real quick when you're in the military. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the best experience I've probably ever had. Well, I met a lot of nice people. I know a lot of the young men that when I was down at Fort Leonard Wood after AIT, they had extra training. They went over to Vietnam. And I reported back to my unit in Beulah. And I'd say about 10 years ago, I don't know why, well, I've been in the American Legion for 54 years, but most of the members in the American Legion are either Korean veterans or Vietnam veterans. And then these guys that were in Vietnam, they tell us stories what they went through, and then I start kind of wondering, you know, why wasn't I sent over to Vietnam? So it kind of bothered me, so I talked to our pastor, Rich Cook, and we sat down for about an hour, and by the time he got done with me, I understood why he said what he did. And he said, I did not make the decision that I didn't go to Vietnam. God made it for me. And I've been thankful for that, but it's still, I think of the young men that went over there and how they got treated when they came back. It wasn't very nice.
When Larry was over in Afghanistan, he ended up running with convoys, and one of the vehicles in his convoy was hit by a IED, and that had some effects on his life. Not good memories, but and well, like my father, he talked about going across the ocean in a boat, and it took, I think, 2 weeks, because he said we zigzagged all the way over to England. Then they spent a long time in England, and then he was he was on day 3 of the invasion on Normandy Beach. He landed on Omaha Beach, and then he talked about how they went through France and up into Germany, the Battle of the Bulge. He was part of that. He was in about 5 different conflicts.
And what I would want people to know about, like my dad and your dad, was they were good people, and their experiences over there formed who they were here and made them appreciate life and appreciate what they got, what they had.
And what they did for the country is, I mean, they fought for our country so that we could even sit down and do this, which, you know, a lot of countries, this doesn't happen openly and freely. And about the same to say with our daughters.
Yeah.
We're proud that they served, and our son-in-laws too.
And we can honestly say with all of them but our grandson, it was not their lifelong ambition to be in the military, but once they got in the military, they recognized that it was a good way of life for them, and our oldest son-in-law, Gilbert, retired from the military, so for him it was a lifelong thing, and they really appreciate the time that they spent serving our country. So we want people to know that.
First, when I see my dad's face on that banner, it makes me smile. And it makes me remember, it automatically, because he's in his sailor hat, a little white hat, and his black glasses that are pretty funky looking and pretty cool now. You know, he probably weighed 130 pounds in that picture, but it makes me just smile, and those people that don't know him as well might just say, hey, there's a guy that sacrificed for our country. That's awesome.
You know, it's, when you're talking about Jason, it's his life through the Marine Corps, the Academy, you know, God Country Corps. He's just lived that every day of his life, and everything he does, the career path that he took. After he got back, he did some motivational speaking around the country with some of the New York firefighters after that took place. So he's just very patriotic. He's very proud to be where he's from. He's proud to be from Hazen. He's proud to be from North Dakota. And I mean, he's an upstanding citizen. I mean, he's a role model for anybody that you'd ever want to meet. If your kids someday could turn into Jason Fry, you'd be very proud of who they turned into be.
And I'll tell you the reason when we first started out with these hero banners, our granddaughter, which at that time was 9 years old, and we drove through town and she saw all the banners, wanted to know why I didn't have one. And I told her I didn't really consider myself a hero. Yes, I served my 6 years. But she told me point blank, she says, in my eyes, you're my hero. So that's when we decided to put a banner up. And I tell you, it's nothing nicer in Hazen here when you drive through and see all the banners that are up. It's unbelievable.